You're listening to the Begin Within Health Show with Nate Slager. For more, go to beginwithin.fit/podcast, or to enroll right now in our flagship coaching program, go to beginwithin.fit/coaching. All right, welcome back to the Begin Within Health Show. I'm glad you're here with me. Today, I want to share with you some of the lessons that I have learned from consistently working out for over 20 years. So I'm 42 years old right now, and recently one of the fellow personal trainers that I follow was sharing on social media about the lessons that he had learned from working out for as long as he had been working out. And it occurred to me that most individuals, just because life is what it is, haven't had a consistent practice of working out for very long, right? Let's just be honest. We joke about it, right? Having the gym membership we don't use, having the treadmill that we use as a clothes hanger, whatever the case is. It's well known, right, that the majority of individuals in the world that we live in struggle with putting fitness into their life in a consistent way. And it got me thinking that even if that's the case for you, whether it is or not, I wanted to share some of the biggest benefits that I've found, some of the lessons that I've learned from working out consistently for over 20 years now, over 2 decades. Anyway, seeing that post, it really got me thinking. I was like, wow, it actually is a pretty unique thing to say that more days than not, consistently throughout over 20 years, over 2 decades, that I've been able to make sure that I'm working out regularly. And I don't do this to kind of toot my own horn, right? I don't want to come across that way at all, because before I dive in, let me reveal something that I absolutely know is true for me. And it might be one of the bigger lessons that I can communicate in this episode of the podcast is that the reason, I am well aware, the reason that I've been able to work out consistently for over 2 decades is that my identity is wrapped up with working out. Now, I realize over the years I've had colleagues, fitness trainers, that have struggled with their own personal routines of eating well and working out. That's fine. But for me, I've always felt like if I'm going to be teaching this, if I'm going to be encouraging this, I have to lead by example. I have better be working out myself. I better be doing what I'm encouraging. I better be practicing what I'm preaching. I better be taking the medicine that I'm encouraging other people to take as a solution for some of their health goals. I had better be doing it. And so as a result, I have. But I wholeheartedly believe, and I realize and I accept the fact that the reason, one of the big reasons, one of the big motivators for me has been that my identity is wrapped up in consistently exercising. So what I want to encourage you to do is find ways to do something similar. Now, I'm not saying that you should become a personal trainer, quit your day job and start doing that. By no means. But the more your identity, and that is how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself, the more it's wrapped up in the fact that you're a healthy person, the more it's wrapped up in the fact that you do exercise consistently. Hey, I am an exerciser. I'm a healthy person. The more that becomes who you are in your mind and heart, someone who takes good care of themselves, the more consistent you're going to be. And that's perhaps a realization that over time I've definitely come to. It's been a huge benefit to me to be in the industry of health and fitness because it's made sure that I get myself in the gym or I get myself in the basement at home in order to get my workouts done. So consider that for yourself. Consider ways that you can make consistent exercise a part of who you are, a part of your routine, because when you do, it's going to stay in place. It is going to be there. Now, if you need anything extra to nudge you in that direction, that's what I'm going to share with you here. Not only some of the benefits that I've gotten in the last 2 decades of working out consistently, but also some of the hacks that I've found, some of the ways that I've found to make sure that I'm getting it done. I'm going to share that with you here today. And I am going to do that by means of 5. Count them up, 5. Let me look at my notes quick and make sure that I have 5 for you from the notes that I have put together. So, yes, absolutely. All right, 5 of them. And here they are. I'm going to share with you right off the top, and then I'll talk a little bit more about each of them. First of all, is the benefit to me in terms of mental health, my mental health, how I'm feeling inside. Number 2, how I'm feeling physically. Huge benefit, and that might be the one that you think of most often. Number 3, I want to talk about embracing imperfection and flexibility. And not physical flexibility, but flexibility with myself, with my mindset. Number 4, I want to talk about ways to optimize success. Some of the shortcuts that I found, the things that I've really found to be beneficial. And then number 5, listening to your body, or listening to my body, the benefits that have come from working out because of listening to my body along the way. All right, so let's dive in here to each and every one of these. Now, I should also mention that primarily throughout the last 2 decades, the exercise that I've been doing is strength training, lifting weights, resistance training. The same thing that I encourage for my clients, those that work out with us at Begin Within. We do Zoom training, so they're at home. We're training them on Zoom, but we're doing resistance training, whether it be body weight, resistance bands, dumbbells, kettlebells, or machines that they might have, cables, those types of things. We're moving weight. We're doing resistance training. We're doing strength training. Okay. Now, if that's good for you, awesome. That is the form of exercise that I believe for me is the right one. It's the one that has suited me so far. And that might change down the line. But there are so many benefits to it. And that's the perspective I'm taking. That's the modality we're talking about here. When I say working out, I'm talking about full body resistance training 4 days a week. Okay. Now, the first point I mentioned that I noticed is the benefit to my mental health. And there are studies that show that exercising improves your cognitive ability. But for me, it gives me a sense of peace. It gives me a sense of calm. And there are plenty of studies that show evidence that exercising reduces anxiety and stress. It reduces anxiety as well as the symptoms. And there's even an interesting study that I have pulled up here that highlighted that resistance training, even in compared to aerobic exercise, so other forms of exercise, that resistance training helps to reduce anxiety through physiological mechanisms like endorphin release. But it also was found to improve anxiety disorder symptoms, stress, sensitivity, distress tolerance. It improves our tolerance of distress, as well as intolerance of uncertainty. Those things that can cause us to sometimes spiral out of control. Studies show that resistance training helps us with handling the causes of what might end up being anxiety. And I found that to be so very, very true for me, to the point where exercise or working out has become for me a quest for better mental health when I feel like I'm wavering a little bit. You know what I mean? And when I find that I haven't exercised, right? If I go 2 or 3, or in some rare cases, 4 days without moving, and in particular without doing some strength training, I really start to feel some of those symptoms rising. And it has never, ever been in all that time, in over 2 decades, that I first think, I need to work out. That's why this is happening. That's why I'm experiencing the world this way. That's where this anxiety is coming from. It's because I need to work out. It's always down the line that I realize, oh, I haven't worked out in a few days. Life's been a little crazy. Yes, but of course I blame the anxiety that I might be feeling on how life is, rather than saying, oh, my challenges in dealing with life now are because I haven't gotten in my strength training session. And again, studies show that that is true for most people, that the strength training is going to help them avoid feeling anxious in response to life being uncertain, life being distressing. So for me, in over 20 years now of working out consistently, one of the biggest benefits that I have found from working out is the benefit to my mental health. All right, number 2. You ready to move on? I hope this is beneficial for you. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm benefiting from kind of making this audio journal about some of the ways that I've benefited from working out consistently. Number 2 is maybe a little bit more obvious, and that is how I'm feeling physically. Now, it is true that working out, in particular strength training, is going to benefit our body, benefit how we digest, benefit how we sleep, those types of things. But the number one way that I notice it is in just how my joints are feeling. And this is similar to some of the consequences of mental health. After I've gone 2 or 3, or in rare cases, sometimes 4 days without strength training, what I notice is, and I can't put this in any other way, what I start to notice is I start to feel really old. I don't know how else to put it. I just start to feel old. And again, it's not ever that I feel this way where my joints kind of feel heavy and they kind of feel sore. They feel like loose and crackly. And I just don't feel like I'm moving as well. I kind of like pulling myself along a little more than the way I like to just kind of float around, right? Effortlessly. I never think, oh, it's because I haven't been working out regularly. It's kind of like I think, oh man, what's wrong with me? I'm getting old. What's wrong with my shoulder? What's wrong with my neck? But then later on I realize, oh, it's because I haven't hit the weights in a few days. That's why I'm feeling this way. And studies as well show that regular exercise, including resistance training, improves our physical function, reduces pain, and helps us to maintain joint health. That's us. That's you and me. That's everyone. Resistance training helps us improve physical function, reduce pain, and maintain joint health. How does that sound? Does that sound like something you want? Absolutely. It does for me. So whenever I'm feeling old, and again, I'm 42 years old now. So I realize that there are a lot of people by this point, they are dealing with a lot of different complications. And for me, staying away from that end of the spectrum is all about working out consistently. It's one of the benefits that I've seen over and over and over again. And it's been years that I've been noticing this, not just recently, that when I don't work out, I start to feel old, right? 10 years or more in the past, I started to notice that kind of heavy feeling, joints not moving well, having a little bit of pain, discomfort. Like I said, crackling. Sometimes they just feel kind of loose, like things are just not working the way that they should here. Kind of just having to put more effort into getting around than I'm used to feeling. But once I get that workout in, I am good to go. But we need to keep doing it consistently in order to continue to feel that way, in order to continue to get the benefits. So that's two of the biggest benefits that I've noticed over 20 years of working out. And I realize for you, as you're listening to this, you're maybe thinking, Nate, I don't care about either of those things. That's not really why I want to work out. There are other things that I'm in pursuit of. What I want to encourage you to do is think about just whatever area it is you want to improve. This is about getting healthier. This is about feeling healthier. This is about experiencing better health. All right, let's move on. Number 3. And now I'm going to get into a couple of the things that I found have helped me to keep this lifestyle consistent. All right. So this one I just call embracing imperfection and flexibility, being adaptable. All right. Being adaptable. That's what I would call this one. And I think the very first aspect of being flexible and adaptable is this. To work out consistently, we have to realize that we're not going to set foot in the gym and do better than we did last time. Every single time we get in the gym. Does that make sense? We can't think, I'm going to lift heavier today than I've ever lifted before. I'm going to do more reps today than I've ever done before. Higher volume, right? Because if you and I do that, today we do better than we've ever done. And then the next time we do the lift, we do better than we've ever done. And we're just setting personal records every time, over and over and over and over again. As we're getting older, then we are a miracle, right? We get older. And that means that what our best is does change. And so we can't just keep lifting heavier and heavier and heavier and performing better and better and better. We have to embrace that. We have to understand that that is the case. Some days we will. We're going to do better than we did last time. And then other days we won't. And embracing that, understanding that that is part of the process has been huge for me. Life has ups and downs. Sometimes we don't sleep as well. Sometimes we're not feeling as well. Sometimes we do have some pain. We have some things we have to work around. We're kind of starting over because we're recovering from an injury. We have to embrace that. We have to realize that that's part of the process. The thing that we're after with the consistency is just showing up, just getting there and doing something. And we talked about that before here on this show. Doing something is what this is all about. Especially when it comes to working out and exercise, show up and do something. That's the goal. That's the target. And that's been the target for me. I want to be able to push myself in doing something every day. That's it. I want to push myself. I want to feel like I'm trying. I want to put some effort in. I don't want to just feel like I'm milling around the gym and that's it, right? I go home after walking around. Okay, I didn't really try. I didn't really push myself. It's just, that's what it's about. Put some effort forth and things are going to be happening. Muscles are going to be working. Your heart and lungs are going to be working harder than they were if you didn't work out. That's the idea. We're just pushing ourselves. So some is so much better than none. That once we're there, once we're doing something, we're doing some. It doesn't really matter what we're doing as long as we're trying, as long as we're putting effort in. I firmly believe that some is so much better than none. That whatever we're doing, if we're doing some, the rest is just details. We can always change it up. We could do different exercises. We can lift the weight at different tempos. We can lift different weights. We could do the exercise from a different angle, whatever the case may be. But as long as we're doing something, that is the victory. And I think embracing that, understanding that has helped me so very much in this journey. And it's something, that mindset is something that has served me over all this time and has allowed me to be consistent because I don't get discouraged when I can't do as much as I did yesterday or last week. I just know that I'm working to my full potential today. That's what this is all about. All right. That's the mindset of kind of embracing imperfection, being flexible and adaptable. And then point 4, let's dive into that. Point 4 is just a couple of hacks that I've found, I'll call it, okay? And number 1, or part A of point 4, I guess I should say, is work out early in the day. For me, that has been huge. And there are some studies that show that those who work out earlier are more likely to stick to the routine. And that makes sense. There's just less variables early in the day. There's less demands. There's less chance that things went wrong, that we're running behind, that we're running late, or that someone needs something that wasn't planned, whether it be a family member, a friend, coworker, boss, whatever it is, right? So early in the day, I've also kicked my workout down the line. Now I work from home. I train from home. I run the business Begin Within Fitness from home. So at times I can say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this work now early, and then later I'll work out. And then when that time comes, like, oh yeah, I'll work out. I got a little window later. I'll get it in there. I know those days, the farther that can gets kicked down the road, the less likely I am to actually do the workout. Plain and simple. So get it done early. Look at your schedule. Find the earliest window in the day when you can be consistent about it. That's your workout time. Start there. If it has to be rescheduled, it can get rescheduled. But start there. Earlier, the better. Right? And then we can get some of those other benefits that I already talked about. We can get them going earlier in the day as well. Staying on point 4, and these are just the hacks that I've found to make it easier to be consistent, working out at home. Now I realize that there is a certain type of person, there's a certain demographic that going to the gym is for them. I firmly believe that it's not for most of us. Before there ever were gyms, before there ever was an obesity epidemic, where were people moving? They were moving at home. They were working at home. They were actually working at home, right? Now we have this concept of working out because we're sitting, we're driving, we're sitting at a desk, we're not getting as much work in. And so in order to benefit from what our body really has to offer when it is moving, when we're using our muscles, we understand we have to do some workouts. So for me, working out at home, which that was kind of that original standard, is still the best because it's the easiest. Again, there's less variables for me at home. Maybe that's different for you. Maybe there's less variables going to the gym. That's fine. But for me, getting in the car, driving there, having a gym bay packed, having to have my gym shoes and my street shoes and all that stuff, much more difficult. There's too many variables for me versus just going into my basement, which is where I have my workout area set up, and getting the workout done. So consider how you can make it easier for yourself. Consider how you can make it easier for yourself to do what it is that you expect yourself to do. If that's work out consistently, find the time of the day when it's easiest. And by easiest, for time of day, most likely to be consistent. And then find the place where it's most likely to be consistent. Do the best you can to set that space up in your home so that it's ready to go. You just step in to your workout space. You don't have to do a bunch of gathering of equipment and everything else. Step into your workout space and make it happen. Make it easy. In summary, that's point 4 here. Just make it easy on yourself. Time of day and workout area in order to help you to be consistent. And then point 5, listen to your body. This one kind of goes back to some of the other points that we talked about, but just listen to your body. If you're feeling better, then you are on the right track. If you need an extra rest day, or you need to have a deload workout or a week when you just lift less, but you're still there, you're still doing something, great. Listen to your body. And in particular, listen to your body when it comes to rest. For me, that's been huge. Especially if you're a morning workout person, there's going to be some days you got to bed late the night before. You know you didn't get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes it is better to just get the rest versus just staying consistent in the routine. And some days you say, hey, I'm going to sleep better tonight. I'm going to get to bed earlier tonight. I have the routine down. I got out of the routine last night. I could do better the next night. But listen to your body and don't pursue the habit of working out at the expense of taking care of yourself in other areas, like having time to eat well and making sure that you have enough time and the circumstances to get sufficient rest on a regular basis. You're not a superhero. You can't just go pedal to the metal all the time. And that includes during your workout. So get what you need. Listen to your body. Now I realize, again, as I'm wrapping up here, you're thinking, oh my goodness, 20 years of working out, that seems like a lot from where you're sitting now, looking ahead, if you haven't been in the habit of it. I hope the things that I shared with you will support you, will encourage you, motivate you, inspire you to get started because of the benefits that the little shortcuts, the hacks that I mentioned are going to help you to make it more consistent, and that you will listen to your body along the way. Please realize, and I think for me, the biggest takeaway would be that this is a long-term process. For me, it feels good to look back and say, oh wow, it's been over 20 years I've been working out consistently. That's great, right? But I think that's maybe the first time in my life that I've actually felt like, hey, I've been relatively successful with this. Because in terms of aesthetic goals or weight loss or strength gain or whatever it is, those lines keep getting moved farther and farther away, right? But working out consistently, that's something that's very achievable for all of us. And for me, I think what I would recommend for you is the same thing I'm focused on for myself, is that is the end goal. Making it a consistent part of life is the end goal. When we're doing that, we've arrived. So again, I hope this has been beneficial for you. I thank you so much for listening all the way to the end, for being part of this community, for supporting the podcast just by listening, and also for being so kind as to rate and review the show in your podcast player. Share it with someone that you care about, who you know would benefit from having a little extra support with health and fitness. And I'll talk with you again soon. Please continue to take good care of yourself.